2021 was one of the very best years so far for indie gaming. Creating a countdown has been a tough proposition, with so many gems vying for a spot. Before we get into the top 10, here's a few shoutouts to some of my favourite indies of the last 12 months. So, where to start? Well, I loved Lilies for its high level of polish, its great upgrades and its Hollow Knight-esque vibes. Cyber Shadow didn't just look but felt like an old school NES game with its tough as nails gameplay. Voidigo, still in early access on Steam, was my favourite go-to new roguelite of 2021, a game that feels like a spiritual successor to Nuclear Throne and Enter the Gungeon. Eastward is a beautiful game and only doesn't feature in the top 10 because I haven't spent enough time with it, but I so love being able to whack enemies with a frying pan. I completed Flynn, Son of Crimson and got all the achievements. The pixel art for this one is beautiful and the combat surprisingly deep. Death's Gambit gets my award for best re-release or DLC. The Afterlife update changed the game substantially, making it so much better than the original release, and now a fantastic Metroidvania come Souls-like. Talking of Metroidvanias, Tales of Iron was tough but never unfair. The story was Shakespearean and made me feel like I was playing an animated version of Brian Jacks's Redwall books. Conway, Disappearance at Dahlia View, despite a rather unwieldy name, featured movie quality voice acting and an intriguing mystery Hitchcock would be proud of. So Lovelot was one of my favourite precision platformers of the year, with its adorable protagonist, stylish pixel art and superbly designed flick screen levels. And finally, only just missing out on a spot in the top 10 is Narita Boy, another game that took me back to my youth. I love the music, the 80s aesthetic and the meta narrative, along with some pretty satisfying, if a little repetitive, combat. With 20 through 11 out the way, let's dive into I Love Indie's top 10 of 2021. Up first then, at number 10, is Treasures of Aegean, a time-looping action platformer that takes inspiration from a whole host of games and genres, from old school Prince of Persia to Indiana Jones to even Tintin with its comic book art style. The plot revolves around a lost civilization, a volcanic eruption and a couple of treasure hunters. The player takes control of Marie Taylor, a parkour specialist who's dropped off into the volcano by helicopter at the start of the game. After discovering a few relics and murals, the volcano becomes unstable and you become trapped in a Groundhog Day style time loop, doomed to repeat the same day over and over until you break the cycle. Treasures of Aegean managed to meld all of its influences into something really unique. It features an addictive gameplay loop where you'll want just one more run. Things surprisingly never feel repetitive, there's always something new to see or do, and the revelations come thick and fast. For my full review of the game, check out the link in the description below. This one is out now on the PC and all major consoles. At 9 we have Unsighted, a game that features a bit of everything. The top-down pixel art style and combat is similar to Hyper Light Drifter, the level design reminiscent of classic Zelda games, whilst the upgrade system is typical of the Metroidvania genre. There's even a sprinkling of Dark Souls in there. You drop resources on death but can pick them back up if you return to the spot of your demise. I never once felt this game derivative, in fact it pulls all of its inspirations together into a super cohesive experience. The developers have really thought of everything, and considering the game is primarily the work of two people, it is some achievement. If you want a super polished Metroidvania with an engaging story, I really can't recommend Unsighted enough. It's available now on the Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PS4 and the PC, and it's one of several games in this list that is available free on Xbox Game Pass for subscribers. At 8 we have Pronty, A Fishy Adventure. Now this one is a sublime Metroidvania set entirely underwater. You play as a fishy creature called Pronty and you have a psychic eel called Bront who doubles as a javelin that can be thrown at enemies. The beautiful hand-drawn landscapes are sure to please Hollow Knight fans, but unlike Team Cherry's game, Pronty plays a lot like a twin-stick shooter, with one analog stick controlling the protagonist's movement and the other controlling the direction you throw Bront. Like all good Metroidvanias, there's a huge interconnected map, with some areas only accessible once you've discovered a certain ability. A lot of love and care has gone into this game. It feels familiar, but plays so well and looks so good. I played it to death on release, got every ending and every achievement, and I loved every minute. It's out now on PC with console ports due in 2022. Now at 7 we have White Shadows, one of the most cinematic experiences of the year with its monochromatic art style and dystopian tale of social inequality. It's a side-scrolling platformer that feels much like Playdead's Inside and Limbo in both style and tone. Now like those games, the story of an oppressed Raven Girl is told through actions rather than words, and it's one that slowly reveals itself over the course of 5 chapters. The soundtrack is superb, with dramatic moments set to classical pieces such as Wagner's Ride of the Valkyrie and Strauss's The Blue Danube. White Shadows is a simple puzzle platformer that some will argue is more style than substance, but for me it's left a lasting impression with its awe-inspiring graphics and thought-provoking story. For that reason, it deserves its place in this year-end list. Check it out now on the PC, PS4 and the PlayStation 5. At 6, another late release for 2021, we have the second game from Hyperlight Drifter developers Heart Machine. Solar Ash is a 3D platformer on an epic scale. You play as Ray, a void runner on a quest to save a planet from being sucked into a black hole. To do that, you'll need to speed skate across a sea of cloud, grind rails to reach the top of towers, and slay colossal bosses. There's a huge, vibrant world to explore, plenty of lore to discover, and a surprisingly emotional story here. I describe the game as a cross between The Pathless, Shadow of the Colossus and Jet Set Radio with its exhilaratingly fast gameplay. If you like any of those, Solar Ash is an easy recommendation. It's out now on the PS4 and the PS5 and the PC via the Epic Games Store.
You can't save anyone, not even yourself.
Sable is truly a beautiful game, one which will leave you awestruck at times. The open world is huge and filled with a mix of urban areas and desert wilderness. There's something very Star Wars about it all, not least due to the fact you speed around on a hoverbike, similar to speeders in the George Lucas saga. It's a rites of passage game with the titular character embarking on a quest for identity. All of this comes in the form of masks, which represent different societal roles and are obtained from completing quests. By the end of the game, you'll choose your path and thus your fate. Great 3D adventures on this scale don't come around too often, especially indie ones, and when they do, we need to grab hold of them tightly. Like Journey and Rhyme, Sable will last long in the memory. It's out now on the PC and Xbox, and can be played free if you're an Xbox Games Pass subscriber. At 4, we have The Longest Road on Earth, which is one of my most memorable gaming experiences of 2021. It features a story told through images and songs rather than words. Each chapter of the game focuses on aspects of everyday life, from strolling to work to learning your first steps to riding a bicycle. The simple things many of us take for granted or rarely stop to think about. Special mention must go to the soundtrack. The 20 songs that feature were written specifically for the game by Bacaulay, who also performs the songs which lyrically link to the textless narrative. The Longest Road on Earth is a unique game, a transcendent experience that will stay with you long after the credits roll. It's out now on the PC via Steam, but also on iOS and Android, allowing you to take it wherever you go. And so, indie lovers, we come to the top 3. There are so many things that Chicory Colourful Tale does well. The graphics are gorgeous, the monochrome world looks like something straight out of a children's colouring book. With your paintbrush, you're able to colour anything and everything in. Now, if you're the creative type, you're going to love this game. I can imagine you'll spend a long time doodling and painting the world around you. Like Zelda's Link to the Past and Metroidvania's, certain areas of the world are blocked off initially and only become accessible with upgrades to your paintbrush. The puzzles are super creative. You're able to shrink plants and make them grow with a dab of your brush, draw lines between points to guide characters, and you can even illuminate darkened caves. Saying any more would only spoil the surprises in store, but Chicory hands down features some of the most inventive puzzles of 2021. Look out for this on the PC, PS4 and PS5, and it's recently come out on the Nintendo Switch with touchscreen controls. At 2, we have a game from the creators of Titan Souls. Death's Door is a Zelda-like action-adventure starring a crow who reaps souls. Your assigned soul is stolen, and so begins a quest in a realm untouched by death, full of twisted inhabitants and countless secrets. Played from an isometric perspective similar to Hades and Bastion, combat features melee weapons, arrows and magic galore. With lots of customizable options, gorgeous graphics and its intriguing plot, Death's Door more than lived up to its promise. This one's another Devolver Digital classic that definitely made up for Tunic's 2021 absence. To keep up to date with all things indie gaming, please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to get notifications so you never miss a video. Feel free to comment below on which of the featured indies most interest you, and also don't forget to click the like button if you enjoy the video, as it all helps feed the YouTube algorithm. And so we arrive at the top spot. My number 1 indie of 2021 is Tome: A Photo Adventure, a game that I feel is an absolute delight to play. The sort of game that will fix a permanent smile on your face. Well, it certainly did on mine. Each world is so well crafted and features such diverse tasks that taking pictures of things has really never been so much fun. In fact, I describe Tome as a puzzle adventure with point and click elements, as most objectives require some thinking outside the box, deciphering clues and finding key objects. You can also wear different hats, clothes, boots and even hold an umbrella. It's the little details that make Tome so special. Outside of the main quests, each world is chock full of things to photograph, some of which are connected to achievements, others are needed to complete your photograph book. Tome is just so wholesome, so aesthetically pleasing, so Moorish that you'll struggle to put it down. For my full video review of the game and why Tome is so special, check out the link in the description below. That's it for now from me. I'll be back very soon with more indie gaming goodness. Until the next video, keep loving indies.